So Jillian, we spoke before the primary election. How has it been different, the campaign, since the primary election?
Well, of course, in a primary campaign, you're really concerned about setting yourself apart within your party. And so convincing your base of voters that you're the best candidate. In the general, it's different. The strategy is different and so forth. So as the Republican nominee, just really trying to stay focused on education issues and what separates my Democrat opponent and me in this race.
So what do you think does separate you from your opponent?
Well, I think one thing that is truly on folks' mind, issue wise, is the concept of federal control over many different topics at the state level, and education is not excluded from that topic. We see federal or potential federal overstep in many aspects of education, from our school lunches to nationalized assessments and standards and so forth. And so that is certainly something that sets us apart. I tend to not see government as a solution to problems, but rather the people as the solution to problems. The other very glaring difference between my Democrat opponent and myself is that I've had 10 years of teaching experience in Wyoming classrooms. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in education, and I've been that boots on the ground. So it's pretty tough to be a general if you haven't been a soldier first. And going into this with that deep understanding and practical experience in education, not sort of an interest, which is certainly to be applauded, but mine has been a lifelong dedication to children and families in Wyoming.
I know there's been some recent drama, I guess you could call it, about a letter that was sent out, a fundraising letter. Do you have any response to what he had to say about that?
Well, that just came on my radar yesterday, and the fundraising letter was any fundraising letter is designed to do two things, especially in a general election. One is to raise funds, and the other is to underscore the importance and urgency in your candidacy. And the letter was sent to, a private list of Republican donors, and my Democrat opponent chose to make that public by sending it to the newspaper and responding to it. I think that the good to come out of that is that it does draw that bright line of distinction between not only the fundamental beliefs of Democrats versus opponents, but also the differences in philosophy between my Democrat opponent and myself, and that again being that I have some real concerns and reservations moving forward with the federal government giving us advice on state and local run education.
So with that, does it change your campaign strategy at all?
Not at all. It wasn't, it was part of our strategy to begin with. And simply, put again, we did not release that letter to the public. I have not uttered a negative word about my Democrat opponent publicly, for sure. And the choice for him to make that public was certainly his call. There have been some things that have happened in my campaign that I chose not to go public with. And so, that would be his campaign, not mine. We'll stay focused on issues. We'll stay focused on my conservative philosophy and my deep and broad experience in education.
What are the basic pillars of your platform for this general election?
Actually, it's in general. It's for the office. It is not just for the general election. My platform has remained consistent throughout, and that is to eliminate the controversial politics from education, to include parents and collaborate more broadly in education decisions and setting that education mission and vision and working toward it, and also to maintain our autonomy as a state and local control over our schools. And I wholeheartedly believe, as a parent, a teacher, and a candidate, that the very best decisions about education are made by families first, and then by school districts, school boards, and local communities.
I know local control is extremely important to you, and you did mention that there is somewhat of an overstepping by the federal government in education in the state. What would you do to stop that overstepping?
Well, a couple of things. It's clear that there are some voices that weren't heard in decisions that were made at the state level with respect to issues like standards adoption. And we've seen that play out certainly in a larger political debate that's become statewide. We'll have another one coming up with the potential adoption or potential option of adopting a national assessment. We also have, the opportunity to apply for a waiver, which is a mislabel because it actually ties us closer to No Child Left Behind and the federal government, and then No Child Left Behind itself. Those are 4 areas that the state superintendent will immediately need to attend to and make decisions that tie us closer to the federal government or tie us closer to having or maintaining local and state control over education.
And you mentioned earlier the debates are coming up. What do you hope to accomplish through these debates?
Debates are an excellent time to really reach the voters and talk about the issues in depth and for voters to see that bright line of distinction between the candidates. So certainly that's one thing that I hope to accomplish for the voters. It is an excellent opportunity to inform the electorate about about the most important and pressing issues in education. And those came up to a certain extent in the primary, and I know that those will be a big topic in our upcoming debates and for the remainder of this campaign. I also want to underscore that everything that we've talked about today, I have a plan moving forward, and I look forward day one to getting into office and starting to work on this because I'm an educator, because I worked in the Department of Education, and many of my former colleagues are still there. Some of my staff members that I supervised are still there, and also being an executive leader in state government, I won't have a learning curve. Certainly there are challenges, and I am ready to jump into office day one and not only mend a broken system that's been overtaken by controversial politics, but also move education forward. One of the immediate goals is to really rebuild, rekindle relationships and partnerships across the state. And I want Wyoming to have a 10-year education plan that transcends K-12 education and that transcends state government or even local government, and certainly transcends controversial politics. I want Wyoming to be on the same page going forward and saying in 10 years, this is what we want. In year 1, this is what we want our kids to know and be able to do. Year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and really set those clear outcomes, and then have our state take some collective responsibility for meeting those goals along the way. I think then and only then can we transcend these controversial politics that we've found ourselves in and really make a difference, really move the needle in education. We know that there are a lot of great things going on locally in schools. I'm excited to shine a spotlight on those. So many great reforms going on across the state that are really making a difference in children's lives. I was just at the Community College Summit this morning, and we were talking, one of the panelists was talking about how great their connection is to high school students and how high school students can really experience college before they're in college. And those are exactly the kinds of efforts that we need to spotlight at the state level and make sure that districts who are struggling with wanting to do something like that are well connected with the best and informed practice across the state so they too can do that.
And for the general voter that's out there in Wyoming, why would you say they should vote for you?
Well, again, I am just going to rely on my philosophy about education. Again, I know that we are doing great things for kids and that the very best efforts are taking place in communities across our state. I am a strong supporter of local control, a strong supporter of the most important decisions being made at the family and local level. And, again, my experience is both deep and broad. I have a proven track record of making government work better for people as an executive leader in state government, of streamlining bureaucracy, and I'm a veteran of the classroom. I deeply understand the education issues from the classroom to the boardroom to the floor of the legislature, and I'm excited to work with people across the board to make real changes in Wyoming.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
You know, I would invite people to certainly check us out on social media and take a look at my Facebook page and tune in to one or more of the upcoming debates and really learn about the education issues. This is a very important election, and especially in this office. And of course, would encourage folks to get out and vote on or before November 4th.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Jillian.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.